Have you reached that eerie crossroads on your twin flame path where the universe seems to mute every sign? No synchronicities, no reassuring dreams, only an unnerving quiet that makes you wonder if you've somehow slipped off destiny's map. In this hush, old doubts resurface, poking at wounds you thought were healed and testing whether you'll cling to past patterns or stand firm in the glow of the person you've become. Today's video uncovers the hidden purpose behind that silence. We'll reveal why the universe withdraws its usual signals, how this final exam gauges your energetic maturity, and the exact practical steps you can take to transmute anxiety into sovereign calm. By the end, you'll understand that the quiet isn't punishment. It's proof that you're ready to ascend to the next frequency of your journey. Stick with us to the last second, and you won't just endure the silence, you'll master it. You'll learn to read the subtle language of stillness, anchor unshakable self-trust, and turn each empty moment into a gateway for profound manifestation. Ready to prove to the universe and to yourself that you can thrive without external validation. Press play, stay till the very end, and let spiritual universe guide you through the silent threshold into a louder, brighter destiny. Number 1. The unseen test. Imagine a crossroads so quiet it almost escapes your notice. No blazing neon signs, no thunderous shift in circumstances, only a subtle pause, a familiar sting, or a sudden hush where praise used to echo. That quiet is not abandonment. It is the universe slipping a final envelope beneath your door, asking you to open it without an audience. Inside is a single question. Will you default to yesterday's reflexes, or will you embody the luminous sovereignty you have worked so hard to claim? This last examination often wears the cloak of delay, the unanswered message, the plan that stalls, the hope that seems to idle at a red light forever. It can return as an old trigger you thought you'd healed, an unexpected memory, a stray comment, a mirrored insecurity in someone else's eyes. Sometimes it feels like an abrupt shortage of approval, as if every external affirmation you once depended on has gone radio silent. Yet, that very silence is the invitation to validate yourself, to remember the woman you have become instead of searching for proof that others can see her. The cosmos is not interested in whether you can perform under pressure. It wants to witness whether you can remember under stillness. Presence, not performance, is the metric. In that breath between stimulus and instinct lies the alchemy, your chance to choose a response aligned with the frequency of your future rather than the echoes of your past. Will you brace against emptiness or breathe into possibility? Will you shrink back into the predictable or expand into the unknown? If your intuition tingles, if you sense the test hovering at the edge of your awareness, trust that perception. You are standing at your soul's final checkpoint, the threshold before the gate swings open to a reality recalibrated to the vibration you hold in this very moment. Stand tall in your knowing. The universe is utterly silent, precisely because you are meant to speak your truth with your energy alone. Number 2. Silence as the mirror. This moment isn't testing your strength. You've already walked through the fire, endured the storms, and stood your ground through chaos. The strength was forged long ago. Now, the test is more subtle, more refined. It's not about endurance. It's about frequency, about alignment, about whether you are truly living as the embodiment of the love you once sought so desperately from others. You see, the universe is no longer interested in whether you can survive the pain. It already knows you can. What it wants to see is if you can now thrive in your truth. Can you hold the vibration of unconditional love, of self-trust, of deep inner peace, even when the world around you offers no confirmation, no applause, and no certainty? Can you become the very love you once waited for, the safety you once begged others to provide? This final stretch doesn't come wrapped in clarity or overt signs. It often arrives disguised in the mundane and the frustrating. A message left unread, a conversation that never happens, a dream that triggers an old wound, a wave of self-doubt that seems to appear out of nowhere. These are not setbacks. They are signals. The universe is not punishing you. It's holding up a mirror. And in that mirror, it's asking, will you respond the way you used to, or will you respond as the person you've become? In these quiet moments, you're not being asked to fight, chase, or even resolve. You're being asked to remember, to recall the truth of who you are beneath the ego's panic and the mind's chatter. The silence is not a void, it is a sacred space, a portal of reflection where your soul is invited to realign, not with someone else, but with itself. So if life feels quiet right now, almost eerily so, trust that something powerful is unfolding beneath the surface. This silence is not emptiness. It is fullness disguised, a space where your frequency is calibrating to match what you've always deserved. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. Number 3, responding from the soul. In moments of silence, the ego grows restless. It scrambles for control, hungers for validation, and panics in the absence of feedback. It whispers fears of abandonment, of rejection, of something slipping away. The ego needs noise to feel real, proof in the form of a message, a sign, or a reaction. But the soul moves differently. The soul understands that silence is not absence. It is presence in its most sacred form. This stillness is not a void to be filled. It's the sacred pause before alignment takes form. It's the breath before the breakthrough, the moment when the unseen begins to take shape. But here, in this hush, is where most turn back. They grasp, they reach, they retreat to the familiar noise that once comforted the old version of themselves. They abandon the space where transformation is born. But the divine feminine who has awakened, she does not reach outward. She does not chase. She does not beg for what is already destined for her path. She knows that the universe does not operate on panic, but on presence. She holds herself with grace, even when doubt knocks. She anchors into her knowing, even when nothing outside of her confirms it. She becomes the steady hand she once searched for in others. This version of her, the version rising now, refuses to abandon her inner child for the sake of external love. She no longer sacrifices her truth to earn affection or quiet her fears. Instead, she responds from the soul. She soothes the inner child with warmth, whispers to her, "We are safe now. We do not have to chase. What is meant for us will arrive because we're already aligned with it." In this way, she doesn't just pass the test, she transcends it, not by proving her worth, but by embodying it, not by reacting, but by remembering. The silence becomes her mirror, not her enemy. It reflects not lack, but light, the light she has always carried, now finally claimed. If you've made it this far, take a moment to honor yourself, because few are willing to sit with the silence, let alone respond to it from the soul. You are not just watching a video, you're walking a sacred path back to your truth. If this message resonated with you, we'd love to hear your reflections. What part of you is learning to hold steady in the stillness? Share your thoughts in the comments, or simply affirm your journey by typing, "I respond from my soul, not my fear." And if this insight touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone else on the path. Your energy matters, and your presence here is no accident. Number 4, when old patterns resurface, a sacred retest of your evolution. Have you ever felt like just when you thought you'd finally moved on, finally healed, the same old triggers come back, uninvited, haunting, and strangely familiar? That's not a step backward. That's the universe doing exactly what it must in the final stretch of your spiritual evolution. It doesn't throw new challenges at you to test your growth. Instead, it brings back the old ones, the ones that shaped you, the ones that wounded you, the ones you believed were already behind you. And not because you've failed, but because you've evolved. This isn't regression, it's recognition. These moments might catch you off guard, a delayed response, a sudden silence, a mirrored situation from your past. But this time, you're not the same woman you were back then. You feel the trigger, yes, but your response has changed. And that's everything. You don't impulsively send the panicked text. You don't chase clarity to soothe your anxiety. You no longer beg for breadcrumbs of reassurance. Instead, you take a deep breath. You pause. And in that sacred pause, you choose differently. You ask yourself, with grace and groundedness, what would the woman I've become do right now? That question becomes a portal, a spellbreaker, a mirror that reflects not who you used to be, but who you are now, whole, wise and steady in your sovereignty. And that is where the true healing begins, not in avoiding the patterns, but in facing them and choosing differently, in no longer being seduced by the chaos that once dictated your reactions, in standing in your truth without demanding proof from the outside. The old wounds may knock, but they no longer own the key. This is the turning point, the proof that the frequency you hold is no longer reactive, but aligned. And in that alignment you begin to break the spell of your past and step fully into the woman you were always becoming. Number 5. The power of non-reaction, returning to your sovereignty. Silence has a way of whispering to your deepest fears. It tempts you to abandon yourself in search of reassurance, to reach out just to feel seen, to make noise simply to break the stillness. But not anymore. You've changed. Now, you no longer react from fear, you respond from your soul. There's a sacred difference. You don't run from the discomfort. You witness the emotion rising within you. You honor it. You speak gently to the younger version of yourself who once equated silence with rejection, abandonment, or loss. And instead of collapsing into the ache, you hold her. You hold space. You breathe. This is not denial. This is not emotional avoidance. This is power, pure, embodied sovereignty. You're no longer a prisoner of the old cycle where peace was bartered for promises that never came, or where love was measured in crumbs. You no longer betray your inner calm just to keep someone else's energy close. You don't beg the universe to deliver what your soul already contains. And in that shift, when you stop chasing, when you stop grasping, when you stop giving away your peace in exchange for temporary comfort, the universe notices. But not to hand you a prize, not to reward your restraint. It simply reflects back the truth you now embody. A truth that says, I am already whole. I am already enough. I do not need noise to prove I exist. I do not need validation to feel valuable. This is where transformation solidifies. Not in grand declarations, but in the quiet, consistent act of choosing yourself again and again. The power of non-reaction isn't in what it avoids, it's in what it confirms, that your healing is real, that your growth is stable, and that your soul now leads the way. Number 6. Embodying the divine feminine, becoming the love you once sought. There is a precise heartbeat in the journey where the divine feminine finally comes home to herself. It is not the disappearance of pain that heralds this return. Suffering may still hum in the background like a distant drum. The alchemy is subtler, deeper. She no longer allows pain to set her pace, choose her words, or tint her worth. Instead, she greets the old ache as an echo, evidence of how far she has traveled, and then gently sets it aside. Again and again, she chooses herself, reaffirming with every breath that her center is non-negotiable. In this sacred act of self-selection, she undergoes a quiet transfiguration. She stops searching the horizon for proof of love's arrival because she has become the horizon, wide, luminous, endlessly unfolding. She is no longer the seeker of love. She is its living fountain. Her presence turns ordinary rooms into sanctuaries and silence into song. She does not clutch or clutch back. She simply radiates, a constant reminder that real love begins as an inner climate before it ever appears as an outer event. And as she anchors into that frequency, steady, sovereign, and self-anointed, the divine masculine feels the shift. He may not have language for what stirs inside him, but the vibration is unmistakable. The energetic chord that once felt taut with longing and static with fear now hums with a magnetic hum. It is not a grasping pull born of desperation, it is a natural gravity, the way dawn pulls the tide or moonlight beckons wolf song. He senses spaciousness where there was once urgency, sovereignty where there was once hidden need. Without a single spoken word, he is summoned home by the resonance she now effortlessly emits. This is the sacred pivot point of the journey, not a finish line, but a grand beginning, where love circulates from the inside out, where partnership becomes an alignment of sovereign souls, and where the divine feminine, enthroned in her own heart, finally meets life on equal, exalted ground. Number 7. Choosing self without closing. Choosing yourself isn't about building walls or walking away from love. It's about anchoring deeply into your own center without shutting the door on your heart. It's the sacred act of remaining open while no longer leaking your energy. You're not closing off to him. You're loving him energetically, soulfully, without abandoning yourself physically, emotionally, or spiritually. You still hold space, but now from a place of stability, not sacrifice. This shift happens the moment you stop micromanaging the outcome, when you no longer obsess over timelines or chase signs, when you stop trying to decode every silence or force every interaction into meaning, something powerful unfolds. You begin to embody the woman you were always meant to be, radiant, rooted, and unapologetically aligned. You stop asking, "When will he come?" and instead ask, "How can I come home to myself today?" In this energy, you are no longer reaching outward for love, you are becoming it. And that frequency is magnetic. The universe doesn't respond to longing, it responds to embodiment. It mirrors back the love you cultivate within. So as you choose yourself, gently, consistently, and without fear, you don't lose him. You invite the version of him that can finally meet you in your truth. This is not detachment, it is divine readiness. You're no longer waiting, you're living. And from that place, everything begins to shift. Number 8. The sacred shift. Passing the universe's final threshold is not a matter of one last push, one more ritual, or a perfectly worded affirmation. It is the quiet, luminous moment when effort dissolves into pure embodiment. Instead of searching for miracles on the horizon, you recognize that every breath you take already carries miraculous potential. You stop chasing the shimmering promise of someday and begin to inhabit right now, walking, speaking, and creating as the woman who has already received what her heart once ached for. In this sacred shift, you hold yourself with the calm certainty of dawn, soft yet unstoppable. Questions like, "When will it happen?" fade into irrelevance, replaced by the grounded declaration, "It is happening through me." You adjust your posture, your rituals, even your schedule to align with the life you say you desire. You treat your body as if it is already beloved, your home as if it already shelters deep partnership, your voice as if it is already heard and honored. Every choice becomes an affirmation in motion. This is the vibration of readiness, not the brittle shimmer of perfection, but the warm, steady glow of authenticity. It says, "I am willing to be seen exactly as I am, and I am willing to see others in their becoming." From this frequency, love sheds its old costumes of longing and delay. It doesn't ache or hide behind tests. It reveals itself in the ordinary miracles of daily life, the synced heartbeat, the shared laughter, the unexpected ease that flows when two whole energies meet. And so love, in its truest form, simply is, ever present, ever generous, reflecting the truth you now embody. The miracle you once sought was never outside you. It has always lived within, waiting for the moment you would choose to unleash it. Number 9. The divine union arrives. There is a sacred hush that precedes every true homecoming. Divine union never marches in with trumpets or dramatic displays. Instead, it slips through the doorway of your life clothed in gentleness, an atmosphere so tranquil you might mistake it for ordinary stillness. Union is not prey to be hunted down, nor a milestone you force onto a timeline. It is the inevitable sunrise that greets a horizon already prepared to receive it, the natural culmination of the inner vow you made, the day you chose to honor your own becoming. The turning point appears when you relinquish the habit of waiting and step fully into the vibration of living. Each breath, each decision, each embodied truth becomes an affirmation that you are no longer chasing potential. You are inhabiting it. In this space, peace is not a reward. It is a compass, guiding you into deeper coherence with the self you have patiently sculpted from trial, tenderness, and trust. From such alignment, the masculine energy can sense a shift. He is not drawn back by hunger or lack, but by an almost cellular memory of something unwavering and timeless. He recognizes you, not as the echo of a past he abandoned, but as the sanctum he has sought across lifetimes. Your resonance calls him, not by pleading whispers, but by the silent certainty radiating from a heart that recognizes its own fullness. When he returns, the meeting is devoid of desperation. Two sovereign souls stand face to face, one carrying the map of a journey completed within, the other carrying the key to doors once thought impenetrable. There is no need to negotiate worth or barter affection. There is only the quiet acknowledgement that what has always been destined can finally unfold without resistance. Thus, union arrives, not as a finish line, but as a living, breathing testament to what is possible when you cease wrestling with your evolution and simply allow it. In the ease of that acceptance, love softly announces itself, not to rescue anyone, but to celebrate the home both of you have, at last, remembered. This moment isn't about surrendering your dreams or walking away from the journey. It's about transcending the version of you that once believed love had to be earned, chased, or proven. This is not about giving up. It's about growing up, spiritually, emotionally, and energetically. You've arrived at a place where you no longer ask, "When will it happen?" Instead, you simply become the space in which it can. The divine feminine who passes the final test doesn't demand love. She radiates it. She no longer reaches for what is outside. She holds herself in such deep truth that everything aligned with her soul finds its way in naturally. You've stopped waiting. You've started embodying. You no longer collapse into old wounds or beg for clarity. You are the clarity. You don't wait for someone to call you worthy. You live as if you know you always were. Because union isn't the destination, it's the mirror. And what's being reflected back now is your wholeness, your strength, and your unwavering peace. So take a deep breath, smile. Feel your energy settle into the frequency of faith, not fear. Let go, not of the dream, but of the desperation, not of love, but of the timeline. Because now, finally, you are not just prepared, you are magnetic. Everything aligned with your soul is already making its way to you. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. If this message resonated with your soul, let the universe know by typing in the comments, "I am not waiting. I am embodying." And if this video sparked something within you, take a moment to like it, share it with someone who's walking their own sacred path, and don't forget to watch the next video linked below. It might be the divine confirmation your soul has been seeking.